Hey everyone, it's May and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Nightwish's Once. Super excited about this. This is their fifth main studio album, not counting the EP, and it came out in 2004. There are 11 tracks and 2 bonus tracks. I don't have too much background on the album, but I'll just give you guys kind of the general background from the Nightwish book. As always, all the extra information in these videos comes from the Once Upon a Nightwish book. I always put the link if you want to purchase it in the description. This album was really hard for Thomas to write at first. Dead Gardens was the first song he wrote, which we're going to talk about, and it actually seems like the song itself is kind of about writer's block. And basically, he said he wrote it when he was really pissed off, and things just flowed from there. And Thomas was actually satisfied with it at the end, in comparison to their other albums when he wasn't as satisfied, I think, and he felt that it was their best work to date. I think that it basically continued on the sound of Century Child, like I talked about last time. There's kind of a big difference in the sound between Wishmaster and Century Child, and I think that Once just kind of carries on that sound, where Tarja's voice is a little bit softer and not as operatic, and we have the more orchestra sound. And I talked about in the book how expensive this album was to produce because of the orchestra, but I think, you know, it was very worth it because it adds such a bombastic sound to it, and I think they still really made it work live, and even though they had to rely more on backing tapes, I think it still really works. So yeah, that's all the background. As always, I'm just gonna go through the songs and talk about each one a little bit. Just disclaimer as always that these are my opinions, and it either comes from me or Song Meanings if I mentioned that I wanted to talk about something from that website, which I'll always link below as well. I'm not saying that Thomas intended a certain thing or that it definitely means a certain thing. It's just my interpretations of the songs. So track 1 is Dark Chest of Wonders. It is such an epic opening to this album, the Once I Had a Dream, and this is it. It's also how they started. The End of an Era concert. I've listened to the song a lot because of how many times I've watched the End of an Era concert. I think that it's interesting that it says that at the beginning. I wonder if that's supposed to say this album is the realization of his dreams, kind of like everything that Nightwish has come to. We'll read the lyrics here. So once I had a dream and this is it. Once there was a child's dream. One night the clock struck 12, the window opened wide. Once there was a child's heart, the age I learned to fly and took a step outside. Once I knew all the tales, it's time to turn back time, follow the pale moonlight. Once I wished for this night. Faith brought me here, it's time to cut the rope and fly. Fly to a dream, far across the sea, all the burdens gone, open the chest once more. Dark chest of wonders seen through the eyes of the one with pure heart once so long ago. The one in big blue is what the world stole from me. This night will bring him back to me. And then it repeats the chorus again. It's always so interesting to read the lyrics to their songs, because all the once, it's when it says that, and it's I never understood anything of that when I was listening to this. Anyway, so some people on Song Meanings talked about how it could be a connection to Peter Pan and or Pandora's Box, and I can kind of see both of those. I mean, especially because Thomas loves Disney, I can definitely see how maybe he got inspired from Peter Pan, especially in that first verse. One night the clock struck 12, the window opened wide, I learned to fly and took a step outside. So I definitely think that could connect to it, and just the Dark Chest of Wonders being Pandora's box, you think it's gonna contain these wondrous things, but it's actually a dark chest or something. With that, it could be when it says Dark Chest of Wonders seen through the eyes of the one with pure heart. If we're taking the Pandora's box interpretation, it's kind of the reality of the world, but seen through a child's eyes, the eyes of an innocent, is kind of what that could be. They don't really understand the evils of the world yet, but overall it does just seem to be about a yearning for childhood and innocence. Surprise! I feel like we can kind of connect everything back to that. He wants to turn back time to when he, saw things as wondrous. It's yearning to fly back to that, I think, is kind of what I get from that in general. And then the one in big blue is what the world stole from me. It's interesting, I don't know if that refers to the sky or the ocean. I mean, he does relate ocean to innocence and the beginning of all things a lot, so maybe that's what that is. And it's just maybe that's meaning his childhood innocence had been stolen, but he wants to get back to that. I don't know. Something like that, maybe. Track 2 is Wish I Had an Angel. Fun fact, this used to be my favorite Nightwish song. When I first got into Nightwish, I listened to End of an Era. Well, not just listen, I watched End of an Era over and over as I was doing my homework. I'd bring it in front of the computer and be I can put on End of an Era and do my homework, it'll be fine, and then I ended up just watching it. Of course. And this song, for some reason, was just it for me. Like, I listened to it like any spare moment that I got. And it still has like a special meaning to me because it was the last song that this lineup did together, because it's the last song of End of an Era. But yeah, it's not in my like top 20 anymore even. Like, it's a good song, it's a jam, but also this is like a really embarrassing fun fact, but I actually have a video of me lip syncing to this song because I was so obsessed with the End of an Era version. I like stood in front of the computer with like a fake microphone and like lip synced along and tried to like do all of Taria's like mannerisms and like moves in the song. It was, yeah, I can't watch that anymore. Anyway, moving on. Apparently Thomas got the idea for this song when he was in a bar and people kept hitting on his girlfriend at the time and he was getting really pissed off because like people knew they were together or something, and just the line, "I wish I had an angel," just popped into his head, and he's like, it's so cheesy it might actually work, from the Nightwish book. So interesting factoid there. I think the lyrics are pretty self-explanatory. I mean, I obviously think there is some connection to Taria here because she was like referred to as the angel, and like old loves, they die hard could connect to that. Someone also pointed out on Song Meanings that Old Loves Die Hard could be a reference back to Nymphomaniac Fantasia with Old Love Lies Deep, and then the beauty always comes with dark thoughts could relate back to like their Beauty and the Beast references. So that's interesting. I don't know. Anyway, it's a banger. It's a good one. And then track 3 is Nemo, which is probably, trying to think. I think Wish I Had an Angel and Nemo were their singles from this album, and Nemo just got super popular. I think their most popular song of all time is Amaranth maybe, but I think to date Nemo was their most popular, I think. The iconic red coat in the snow music video. I love the song. It's one of my favorites. Apparently, I had no idea about this before I read the Nightwish book, but this song was originally written with like a double bass drum and like this rap part in it that later got moved to Romanticide when he realized that it wasn't working in this. Nemo means nobody in Latin. Some people think the song's about the fish. It's not. In an interview, which I'll link down below, Thomas said that it describes how he feels sometimes. He said, "Nameless, I don't know who I am or where I'm going. I just know my past and I long to go back there." He said that it's about being lost and not knowing where you are going or what you're doing and just desperate about everything in life. I feel like that sentiment is very relatable for a lot of people. I will read the lyrics here. "This is me for forever, one of the lost ones, the one without a name, without an honest heart as compass. This is me for forever, one without a name, these lines the last endeavor to find the missing lifeline." The chorus is, "Oh, how I wish for soothing rain, all I wish is to dream again, my loving heart lost in the dark, for hope I'd give my everything. My flower withered between the pages 2 and 3, the once and forever bloom gone with my sins. Walk the dark path, sleep with angels, call the past for help, touch me with your love and reveal to me my true name." And then it repeats the chorus basically, and then says, "Nemo, my name forevermore, Nemo sailing home, Nemo letting go." I definitely get like what he said in the interview from this, like he feels like he's nothing and he's lost in the verses, and the chorus is just like wishing to get back to the time of innocence or whatever it may be in the past. For soothing rain, I want to dream again, like have hope in life. For hope I'd give my everything. And kind of in Century Child talked about how the end of hope, so I forget what the exact phrase was, but like losing hope is the end of it all, or like losing hope is losing everything. Like once you don't have that, you don't have anything anymore, like you can't go on, something to that effect. And so that kind of comes back up here. It's interesting, in the second verse it says, "My flower withered between the pages 2 and 3, the once and forever bloom gone with my sins." In Center Child it talked about the withering rose, and it had the black rose that was mentioned multiple times, so I wonder if that's like a continuation of that little motif. I don't know, because again it would just represent the fading of innocence there. Okay, this is future me popping in just to really quickly make a connection here. So in Nemo, when it says, "Oh, how I wish for soothing rain," I feel like it could connect back to Beauty of the Beast. In verse 2 it says, "I wish I could come back to you once again, feel the rain falling inside me, cleansing all that I've become." Because in that it kind of signifies like a cleansing or a rebirth. And so it's like wishing for that soothing rain to like make everything better, or for that to make a change or to cleanse him. I feel like that could connect to this one as well, like to cleanse those feelings that he's having. My favorite part of the song is when the lyrics change subtly in that second chorus where it says, "Oh how I wish for soothing rain, oh how I wish to dream again, once and for all and all for once, you know my name forevermore." It just sounds so desperate, and it's just I love it. Track 4 is Planet Hell. This is a super heavy one. I think the general vibe of it is just kind of like, what does this world come to? Like Planet Hell referring to Earth. I did get some of this information from song meanings, but basically overall it's just kind of referring to Earth and specifically wars or corruption. As always, people have like different interpretations, but that's kind of the one that I agreed with the most because I'll just read the lyrics here. "Denying the lying, a million children fighting for lives in strife for hope beyond the horizon, a dead world, a dark path, not even crossroads to choose from, all the blood-red carpets before me, behold this fair creation of God, my only wish to leave behind all the days of the earth, this everyday hell of my kingdom come, the first rock thrown again, welcome to hell little saint, Mother Gaia in slaughter, welcome to paradise soldier, my first cry never ending, all life is to fear for life, you fool, you wanderer, you challenge the gods and lost, save yourself a penny for the ferryman, save yourself and let them suffer. In hope, in love, this world ain't ready for the ark. Mankind works in mysterious ways." And this also has Marco in it, so it's part of the reason why it sounds heavier, I think, not just the instruments, is because he's like screaming half of these lyrics, right? As always, I think just like the Marco Taria duets work so well because he's like screaming the lyrics and her voice is so clear and it just like contrasts so well. Anyway, so for the lyrics, I think in the first verse, like saying a million children fighting is just about like children going to war or being like forced into that. And someone on Song Meaning said that it's basically like they're fighting for a better life. They're told that, or for a hope they can't see. Like that's for lives in strife for hope beyond the horizon. Verse 2 is the effects of the war. All the blood-red carpets before me is referring to all the blood that has been spilled by this war. And behold, this fair creation of God is obviously sarcasm. Like this is what it's come to. The third verse is my only wish to leave behind all the days of the earth. This everyday hell of my kingdom come is just like yearning for escape. And then the fourth verse, on Song Meanings, people said that this is a biblical reference. So I'm just gonna go with that because I don't know the Bible, so I'm always just relying on other people for that. Only someone who has never sinned can like throw the rock, I guess. And so it's like supposed to mean like human hypocrisy. We are throwing rocks, but we're also sinning, so we shouldn't be. It's like blaming other people kind of and not taking responsibility maybe. And then just kind of continues in the fifth verse and then the chorus, the save yourself a penny for the ferryman is just kind of like every man for himself. Like save yourself a penny for the ferryman, let everyone else suffer because it's a dog-eat-dog world. Also, people on Song Meanings pointed out that it's a reference to the underworld when it says to save yourself a penny for the ferryman, because to get passage on the river Styx you have to pay, and if you don't you end up as a wanderer, just like wandering in between this world and the underworld, I think. And so that's when it says like you fool, you wanderer, maybe that's a connection there. I was trying to figure out that this world ain't ready for the ark because I looked up the story and I didn't really understand it before. In the biblical story, God saw how corrupt the earth had become and he was going to destroy it, and Noah built an ark to save his family and some animals so they could replenish the earth after this flood happened. And so I'm not sure if this is saying that the world hasn't gotten bad enough yet for that to happen, or like does that mean that we're not ready to have anyone be saved? Same thing with the last line. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be positive or negative. Mankind works in mysterious ways. Like, does that mean there's still hope? Like, we got ourselves here, but we could also get ourselves to a better place? Or does that mean like we were given all these chances and opportunities and this is what we've done with the world? Like, mankind works in mysterious ways. This is crazy. I don't know. So it's up to interpretation. Next, we have Creek Mary's Blood. This song is so beautiful and I love the end of an era version. I think I keep saying that, but okay, end of an era is just perfect. Okay, because they actually had John Two Hawks, the guy who plays the, I think it's a form of a flute, like a Native American flute, and the chanting, like they actually have him on stage, which is super cool. It's based on the novel of the same name by an author called D. Brown, and I think it's interesting. Like, I actually had to like kind of think twice about it because I'm like, oh yeah, like Native American culture, like yeah, but that's because I'm American. Like, That's just interesting to me that like Tuomas all the way over there in Finland like had an interest in that, but it's cool. I mean, I think it worked really well, and he had like read books about it and wanted to write a song. The language that John Two Hawks chants in is Lakota, and it's at the beginning and end of the song. It's basically just about the Trail of Tears, where the Native Americans were forced from their homes. Apparently, Tuomas and John Two Hawks got along really well. When they flew him out to do the recording, they really connected, and he gave Tuomas like a Native American name and did like this whole ceremony, and I think it was Shadow Wolf is what it translated to. Tuomas was like, yeah. The whole explanation of it's in the Nightwish book, but yeah. So I'll just read the lyrics here. Soon I will be here no more. You'll hear my tale through my blood, through my people and the eagle's cry. The bear within will never lay to rest. Wandering on horizon road, following the trail of tears. White man came, saw the blessed land. We cared, you took, you fought, we lost. Not the war, but an unfair fight. Sceneries painted beautiful in blood. Wandering on horizon road, following the trail of tears. Once we were here, where we have lived since the world began. Since time itself gave us this land. Our souls will join again, the wild, our home in peace and war and death. Chorus again, and then the poem that John Two Hawks chants translates to, I still dream every night of the wolves, the mustangs, those endless prairies, the restless winds over mountain tops, the unspoilt frontier of my kith and kin, the hallowed land of the Great Spirit. I still believe in every night and every day I am like the caribou, and you like the wolves that make me stronger. We never owed you anything, our only debt is one life for our mother. It was a good day to chant the song for her. Our spirit was here long before you, long before us, and long will it be after your pride brings you to your end. So a couple things I just want to bring attention to in the lyrics. I just have to say this. I don't know if anyone else has ever thought of this. I know I've watched End of an Era like an obscene amount of times. There is something so haunting. What is it called? Dramatic irony, when you know what's gonna happen, but the people on the stage don't know. I mean, everyone else but Taria knew, but like no one in the audience knew. Anyway, but it's so haunting to hear her sing, soon I will be here no more, you'll hear my tale through my blood. Like, I understand that it's not about that at all, but just hearing her sing that at End of an Era, like there's something haunting about that. It just always like gives me chills, because like as she says in Enough, you drew a play written with my blood. Like, Tuomas ruined her reputation with that letter and everything. There's a bunch of stuff, we'll go into that later. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. And same thing in Wish I Had an Angel, the line, this night will hurt you like never before. I always think of that. I don't know. Anyway, back to the actual meaning of the song. Clearly that line is actually referring to the blood. It could mean physical blood or like the bloodline, like through my people. I really like the lines, you fought, we lost, not the war, but an unfair fight, sceneries painted beautiful in blood, like bringing that blood up again. The cost of the land was their blood, and so it's always going to be tainted with that because they didn't get it in a fair way. I really like the end of the poem as well, just saying like, our spirit was here before, it'll always go on no matter what, even after your pride brings you to your downfall. So yeah, I just think it's really sad, and it paints a lot of really interesting images, and I really like the authenticity that Tuomas brought to it by bringing in John Two Hawks. Next we have the Siren. I absolutely love the intro to the song. It is so epic, and apparently it was built on a riff by Empu, so he was involved in the writing here. And I also just love the vocalization part in the middle. It sounds so like ethereal and mystical. There isn't too much to say about this one. Some people on Song Meanings talked about how it could be based off of the Odyssey by Homer. Maybe it originated in that. It's kind of like a widespread myth, right? That sirens lure sailors into the water with their voices, and then they just lure them to their death. And in the Odyssey, people were saying that Odysseus had his men tie him to the wheel of the ship so he couldn't jump off, and then begged to be untied when he heard the sirens, but that would connect to in the chorus when it says, who tied my hands to the wheel? And Taria is the siren singing the other vocalizations and like the come to me part in the chorus, while Marco is playing the part of the sailor. That's basically all there is to that. Next we have Dead Gardens. So this is what I mentioned at the beginning, that Tuomas wrote his song first for the album. He was suffering from a lot of writer's block and just wrote the song when he was really pissed off. And I will read the lyrics. It basically seems to me that the song itself is about writer's block and like running out of inspiration. The story behind the painting I drew was already told, no more tear stains on the pages of my diary. Tired but unable to give up, since I'm responsible for the lives I've saved. The play is done, the curtains down, all the tales are told, all the orchids gone, lost in my own world, now I care for dead gardens. My song is little worth anymore, time to lay this weary pen aside. Play is done, the curtains down. Where are the wolves, the underwater moon, the elven path, the haven of youth, lagoons of the starlit sea? Haven't I felt enough for one man's deed, or is it time to challenge the Ancient of Days and let the Virgin conceive? All the tales are told, and then it repeats. And to be honest, I usually skip this song. This and Romanticide are the skips for me on this album. We'll get to that, but I dislike Romanticide. I'd never listened to that song. This one it's fine. The guitar riff at the end just gets so repetitive, and I'm like, I can't do this, so I always end up cutting it off if I don't skip it all together. But anyway, we're here to talk about the lyrics. So the first verse is saying, like, nothing I do is going to be original. The story behind the painting I drew was already told. He wants to give up, but he feels like he can't because he's responsible. Like it says, I'm responsible for the lives I saved. To me, that means the people who have like said that Nightwish saved their lives. I don't feel like it's a stretch to say that, because I think a lot of fans who are like really devoted, or like the band has like changed their life in some way or has saved them in some way, and he feels responsible, kind of like after the break between Wishmaster and Sentry Child, and he's like, I don't know if this is gonna work anymore. It's like, no, we're gonna make it work, because it's like this started out as just this fun creative project, but now it's like people are relying on it. And so again, like the play is done, the curtains down, like everything's over, all the tales are told, all the orchids gone, lost in my own world, now I care for dead gardens. Like all the inspiration and everything that used to fuel me to write music is gone, and I can't find it anymore. My song is little worth anymore, time to lay this weary pen aside. Like the pen that has done so much work and is now, he's trying to make it work, but it's not. Clearly he got through this because he wrote this freaking awesome album, but like just this song is, I feel like, encapsulates his feelings of hopelessness, of like not being able to write it. Because I feel like that's such a common thing among artists of any kind. Like I'm a writer and I definitely feel this, like that fear of like, what if you never get inspiration again? Or like, what if the writer's block just lasts forever? Like it's never guaranteed that you're always gonna have inspiration, especially in his case when he feels responsible, like puts this extra pressure on it. So someone on Song Meaning said that caring for dead gardens is mourning over the beauty of past experiences. Like dead gardens, something that used to be like blooming and alive and beautiful, is now dead. So for Thomas's case, it's probably childhood, or in a sense, obviously, that he can't get back, and he just is like sitting here thinking about those times, and that's what caring for dead gardens is. I also think it's interesting that it brings up, where are the wolves, the underwater moon, the elven path, the haven of youth, lagoons of a starlit sea. We get multiple references to past songs and concepts in there, and it's like probably just connecting to like, where did all that go when I had the inspiration to write that, or want to be a part of those like mythical worlds? Where did all that go? Someone had a really interesting interpretation of this on Song Meanings that I wanted to read. To me, I definitely do think of this as just about writer's block and the fear of not having inspiration anymore, just feeling tired out, and like you can't come up with anything else like you used to. But someone actually, I'll just read it. I think Thomas is speaking of a broken relationship or unrequited love from a few years beforehand, something that has fueled him to write many songs in the past, and how he wishes to move on from it and feel or write about something else instead. It's a few years on, and a lot of the painful emotions have now dulled over time, but nothing has replaced them, and because he was so heavily invested in it, he is left feeling barren, uninspired, and empty. He knows that there is no way to get back what he had, and yet he cannot imagine a future without it either. So now that these feelings have withered away, he feels like the once blooming garden of love in his soul has become an empty, barren wasteland, and now he has nothing to care for but the dead gardens inside his now empty heart. I said I could be way off here, but I've been through a pretty similar thing, and the lyrics reflect exactly what it felt like. If you follow the Nightwish soap opera of the last 18 months, it seems to fit. Should be interesting to see what or who he writes about on the next album. This comment's all the way back in 2007. I just thought that was so interesting because obviously what I think from that comment, it would be like his unrequited love for Taria, which is what he based Sentry Child off of, in my opinion. And it's like he's trying to get away from that, but he doesn't know what else to write about, would be kind of the thing. And like it says in the first verse, no more tear stains on the pages of my diary. That would connect directly to that. So that's such an interesting take on it. I don't know. That's probably the line that makes me think that the most, that would be the most specific to that. And I also just feel like that's I mean, it definitely could be the case, and that's probably for a lot of artists, like, you rely on your pain to make something, you know? And so, like, he doesn't want to keep relying on this one thing, but he doesn't have anything else to replace it, is kind of what they were saying there. So he doesn't know what direction to take it. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. There's a lot to think about. Okay, next we have Romanticide. This is one of my all-time least favorite Nightwish songs. This is probably controversial. I know a lot of people really like it. It is just not for me because this is what the rap part ended up in that was originally supposed to be for Nemo. Thank God they took it out of Nemo because that would just not have worked. The reason I don't like it is just because it's so in your face, and it's not that I don't like their heavy music because I definitely do, but just not this one. There's something about it that sounds dissonant to me, and maybe I'm just making that up, but that's just how it comes off to me, and I just don't like listening to it. This is actually the last song written for the album, and I would say lyrically it has a similar vibe to Slaying the Dreamer. Overall, because of the title Romanticide, like the death of romance, actually I feel like it's death by romance would be the right way to put it, because from the lyrics I think that it's about how his love for Tarja is killing him, and it's like ironic, right? It's like that's the opposite of what love is supposed to do, so that's what makes it interesting. I feel like I actually have a lot to say about these lyrics even though I don't like the song itself, so let's go. The lyrics are, God love and rest my soul with the sundown never ending. The feel is gone, yet you ain't gonna see me fail. I am the decadence of your world. I am an eider covered in oil. I don't know if I said that right. Happy hunting, you double-faced carnivore. Tell me why, no heart to cry, hang me high. The music is dead, the amen is said. The kiss of faith is what I beg, a loving heart and soul for sale. Chorus again, leave me be and cease to tell me how to feel, to grieve, to shield myself from evil. Leave me be, aught of lies is killing me, romanticide to love do me part. See me ruined by my own creations. Leave me be, looks like it just repeats that. Dead boys alive but without sense, I need a near-death experience. Heart once bold, now turned to stone, perfection my messenger from hell. Wine turns to water, campfires freeze, love letters burn, romance is lost, Lord let me be wrong in this pain. Temporary pain, eternal shame, to take part in this devil's chess game, spit on me, let go, get rid of me, and try to survive your stupidity. There's actually so much to talk about. So the lyrics give me a similar vibe to Slaying the Dreamer. Like in the first verse, we've got like, I am the decadence of your world, I am an eider covered in oil, which I guess is like a creature that's being hunted, like I'm a priest for the poorest, sacrifice on but a raft in a sea of sorrow and greed, like I'm being hunted, like I'm surrounded by this greed. Also, it just has the vibe of like, leave me alone and don't tell me what to do, just like Slaying the Dreamer, like gather your precious glitter and leave me be and cease to tell me how to feel, to grieve, to shield myself from evil. Just like leave me alone, you know? I also feel like it kind of continues the lyric ideas from Dead Gardens with the music is dead, the amen is said, and the last two verses talking about things decaying. I feel like it kind of continues that there as well. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to organize this. Actually, I'll start with the interpretation on song meanings that I thought was interesting. Again, like this wouldn't necessarily be entirely my interpretation. Someone thought it was kind of like his anger toward Tarja. Basically their interpretation is that it's about like how like he knows things are gonna end, like it's not gonna work anymore, I guess. Which he didn't actually know they were firing her when he wrote this album. Like it actually, things were really good when the tour started. I mean, they already knew there were like some problems, but like things didn't get really bad until later. But basically okay, I'll just read it. The first verse is about Tuomas cursing the fact that the band and Tarja's ways are going to separate. The first two lines are describing his feelings about the case. He said in the open letter that he can't write songs for Tarja anymore. And then the line, the feel is gone yet you ain't gonna see me fail, tells it, but he's doing his best work possible anyway. And the next lines, I'm the decadence of your world, I am an eider covered in oil, happy hunting, you double-faced carnivore. This Tuomas telling that Tarja's potential will vanish and wishes luck to the future business while feeling betrayed by the fact that Tarja didn't want to continue in Nightwish anymore. Tell me why, no heart to cry, hang me high. I'm not really sure, but it seems like he's feeling pretty numb because of the case. And then the next part, the music is dead, the amen is said, the kiss of faith is what I beg, a loving heart and soul for sale, simply means that Nightwish is kind of over because of the lack of Tarja's faith to the band, and he judges how Tarja is selling her lovely personality, meaning the point in the letter where it said that Tarja was too interested in money. Like she used to have like a good personality and sold out basically. The whole chorus is about anxiety caused by the sides that are telling him what to do or how to feel about it. The phrase romanticide describes his attitude for the band with Tarja. See me ruined by my own creations simply means how Tuomas is feeling bad that his original plan about Nightwish with Tarja forever was going to fail. And then the next part would be saying how he's a perfectionist and it's causing him trouble because things will change change after Tarja leaves. Okay, that's kind of all I'm gonna read. Basically, he feels betrayed. So I don't think, it doesn't work because he didn't know that they were gonna part ways at this point, but I do feel like there is something to that. It's just not how I interpret it, because I feel like in Ghost Love Score, which I'm not gonna give like a full analysis of Ghost Love Score, I'm gonna save that one, because to me it's very clearly like about her and everything. But it's kind of like mourning for the time when everything was simple, because at this point like things had already started to go south a little bit, like there were hints of that. And like I still am convinced that Slaying the Dreamer is partially about it, which would be way earlier. Like that's when he wrote Century Child, which I don't even know if that's accurate, but anyway, that's okay. I just personally don't think that this quite works, but it's interesting to think that maybe not necessarily knowing they were going to part ways, but just knowing that their ideas didn't align anymore, or that there might not be, you know, a future. Because she did say that Once was going to be her last album. No, it wasn't Once, sorry. With the next album. He knew it wasn't going to last forever at this point. So he could be mourning that idea that she was going to be the singer forever because she was such a good interpreter of his feelings and everyone loved it, blah, blah, blah. He already knew at this point that there was an end date, I think. Anyway, so for my interpretation, I think that it's basically all about just how his love for her is killing him because it's unrequited love. And it could definitely be part about like how she was like drifting away or starting to change her attitude, and he knew that things had to end, but he doesn't know like how he could go on, like how he could continue to write without her at this point. I actually think that the line "a loving heart and soul for sale" could be about him, because as an artist, that's how he makes money, is through his feelings, which is cool because it gets to change a lot of people's lives and help them like connect to the music, but it's also like always personal. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of what I thought of. Also, the line "romanticide till love do me part" is usually like "till death do us part," and so it's like love is what's gonna kill him, which I love that line. That connects right into Ghost Love Score. Like, my fall will be for you, my love will be in you, if you be the one to cut me, I'll bleed forever. Love will kill me. Like, I feel like that idea just goes right into Ghost Love Score. The dead boy line, like dead boy's alive without sense, obviously referring to himself. Like, he's alive but without a reason to live, and saying I need a near-death experience is like I need something to jolt me so that I appreciate life again, because this is like taking it out of me. Heart once bold now turned to stone is how love has decayed his heart. And then the next verse is just about decay in general. Wine turns to water, campfires freeze, love letters burn, romance is lost. And then the last part saying temporary pain, eternal shame could be about unrequited love. To take part in this devil's chess game of unrequited love. I feel like that was all over the place. But basically, I think that it's about how dealing with that unrequited love, even though it's provided so much inspiration for his songs, is decaying him, and it's gonna kill him, I think. I will just quickly say a couple things about Ghost Love Score, but I do want to save this. I'm kind of all over the place with how many songs I've been talking about in these videos, but I do want to save some to do like a more comprehensive analysis in my future video where I'm going to just go through all of his lyrics about Tarja and explain them, because I mean, I don't see another way to interpret it. Like, if you take it literally, it is like about mythical figures, like the Siren from the deep, you know, like it's another fantastical like world or something, but like it really isn't. Like, literally the name of the song is Ghost Love Score. To me, it's about unrequited love and mourning for the past when everything was so simple between them and how things ended up. So anyway, apparently this from the book, it was one of the easiest songs for Thomas to write. Like, he actually finds it easier to write songs in this epic structure than to write something like Nemo. I feel like I might have mentioned that before, but anyway, it's definitely a Nightwish classic. One of my favorites, a lot of people's favorite. I will always, I know this is controversial, but I love Flora's version of it. Like, the Vakken one I think is probably the most famous, but it's just never gonna quite measure up to Tarja singing it for me. Flora's voice is more versatile, so she like does all these different things with it, and it's beautiful, but it's just, for me, like, it's never going to compare. Like, there's nothing she could do that would make it like the original, like the End of Nero versions, what I'm referring to specifically, but any of the times on the Once tour. And like, maybe part of it is like that it's written for her, so it's like more meaningful, but I don't know. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Full analysis will come in another video. Track 10, I'm not gonna embarrass myself and pronounce the title, but it translates to Death Makes the Artist in English. The song is in Finnish. I think this is the only other Finnish song that they've done besides Lappi on their first album. So Tuomas said that the idea of death makes the artist is not literal death, but like death of things in his life, good or bad, that have made him who he is, and that's from an interview. And so I wonder if this is also relating, like if we're going off of that interpretation from song meanings for Dead Gardens, like the death of love, or like the death of that unrequited love, or trying to kill it so that he can move on. I don't know, maybe this is taking it too far. But anyway, it's interesting though. I think other people have commented this on the video too, like at End of an Era, even though the song has nothing to do with that, it kind of feels like she's like singing at a funeral. It's just the backing track and her on the stage. Everyone else is gone, like taking a break, and it like projects their pictures up. It seems like everyone died. Like it always has given me that vibe, and it's just so sad. Just watch the End of an Era version if you haven't. It's beautiful. The song is beautiful in Finnish, but I can't pronounce that, so I'm gonna read the English translation. Only once I got to see my dream, I didn't feel the smallness under the stars. Once I got bars to my cradle, from there I'm writing a letter as a prisoner. My God. It says, to you let me become what my child takes me for. I think it's just let me become what my child takes me for, I think. In you, the beauty of the world from which the death made me an artist. My God, to let me become what my child takes me for, created my own heaven here, let me get away. I think the translation's a little wonky, but anyway. Basically, I think the first part is saying, like, this album starts with once I had a dream and this is it, right? Like, only once I got to see my dream, I didn't feel the smallness under the stars. Like, maybe once he actually believed in himself and saw his dream for what it was before all the self-doubt crept in, maybe. The line, let me become what my child takes me for, I mean, I don't think that's translated very well, but it's like, I want to become how an innocent or a child would see me. Like, he doesn't actually have a kid, but like, you know, you get the picture, I think. And then we have Higher Than Hope, which is written with Marco. This is about an American Nightwish fan named Mark Bruland, I think is how you say it. He was not just a fan, but also Tuomas's friend. I think he was like in his early 20s, and he had terminal cancer, and he and Tuomas became friends. Like, Tuomas went out and visited them in San Diego, like visited him and his family, and really connected. He died 2 weeks after the first and last time he saw Nightwish on their Century Child tour. He actually got to like see them in concert before he died. They actually have his voice like on this song. Like, you can hear him speaking in it, so I don't know how his parents must have had like a sound recording of him or something that they added to this, because at the time they were recording this album he would have already passed away, I think. The lyrics sound like they're from Mark's point of view. I'll read it here. Time it took the most of me and left me with no key to unlock the chest of remedy. Mother, the pain ain't hurting me, but the love that I feel when you hold me near. The hopes were high, the choirs were vast, now my dreams are left to live through you. Red sun rising, drowned without inhaling, within the dark holds hard. Red sun rising, curtain falling, higher than hope my cure lies. Passion tide, an angel by my side, but no Christ to end this war, to deliver my soul from the sword. Hope has shown me a scenery, paradise poetry, with first snow all be gone. Hopes were high, etc., red sun rising. Repeats that, your death saved me. And then it repeats the red sun rising section again. The song is so beautiful. So it seems to be from Mark's point of view, and someone on Song Meanings pointed out, Mother, the pain ain't hurting me, but the love that I feel when you hold me near is so heartbreaking. It's like, my physical pain doesn't hurt me as much as your pain does. Like, I can feel your pain when you hold me near and you know I'm gonna die. That's what I think that means. And it's like saying the hopes were high, like maybe this could have been cured. The hopes were high for my life. Now my dreams are left to live through you, because I'm not gonna survive. Higher than hope, my cure lies. It's basically just from his point of view right before he died, I think. The only line that sounds like it's not from his point of view is your death saved me. Like, maybe that's Tuomas saying that. So this is from the Nightwish book. I just have my nook here to read the part. The expression drown without inhaling refers to the fact that Mark was no longer able to swallow in the final stages of his illness, and the red sun rising alludes to the forest fires that broke out the day after Mark died. I'm from California, so I understand that we're always on fire over here. That's an interesting way of putting it here, and I think it works really well with the song. Next we have White Knight Fantasy, which I think is severely underrated. It's a bonus track, so like not everyone hears it. For me, it never was like, oh, it's like a bonus track, because it's just on the album. So when I listened to this, I didn't think that it wasn't like a standard song, but on Spotify it's literally not there, which is sad. Like Nightwish, you should add that. But anyway, it just sounds so unique and kind of different than their other songs. I don't know why I'm still holding this because I don't have the lyrics to it in there. Someone on Song Meanings pointed out that it sounds like she's smiling when she's singing, which I never thought of it that way before, so that was really interesting. I feel like that kind of fits like why it sounds unique, but either way, it just sounds very different than their other songs. In my opinion, they never did it live, but Tari did it live later when she was on her own. I will link it down below if you want to see it. You really should, because it was so magical, and she said it was like one of her favorite songs that she did with them, I think. So there's that little tidbit for you. It isn't a ballad, but the lyrics give off the vibe of a lullaby. This video's been a million years long, so I'm not gonna read all the lyrics, but it basically, to me, is about like a weary traveler finding peace. And yes, there are like mythical elements and stuff, but that's kind of what I take it to be. And someone pointed out, it was on YouTube actually, that the line "love is here, right here under my wings" is a reference to the cover. I also have it on my shirt, but yeah. And then lastly, we have "live to tell the tale." The lyrics on this are very cryptic, so I don't have much to say, but this is an interesting song. It kind of has like an 80s vibe with the music, but it's pretty catchy. It kind of reminds me of Dead Gardens a bit, like when the chorus says, "An errant soul, homeless and foul, all gone but the will to live to tell the tale." Like everything else has become meaningless, but the will to tell the tale could be to keep making music, like to keep writing music is still in him, maybe. Like the verses are kind of talking about the struggles, the second verse talking about like frustration, one right note a day, where to find a perfect tune. It's kind of like struggling with writer's block, but I feel like the choruses are saying that he still has the will to continue writing music. I think is gonna be my interpretation. I have no idea if that's accurate at all. And then I think the last verse, or I guess the bridge, "Dark chambers of my mind locked around the neck of my love, none of you understand, and it doesn't matter to a broken marionette like me." Obviously, I feel like that's connected to Taria, like how much of it's tormented his mind. Like no one could truly understand that, but it doesn't matter to him. And like by saying a broken marionette, like he's been controlled by those dark feelings. Maybe? I'm just literally speculating. I have no clue. But anyway, I think the point of the song is that, and putting this as the last song, is like, we're gonna get through writer's block and keep going, because I still have the will to keep writing music, I think. Okay, I'm so sorry that was a million years long. As always, let me know what you guys think of this album, your favorite songs, your interpretations. I would love to chat in the comments, and I'll be back next time doing a ranking video. So thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.